Hey guys, here, aka Gina, bringing you a motorbike comparison video. Today I'll be bringing out also other comparisons against Hakuchou that you guys have been asking for. Starting off with the thrust. Here's the thing, I've sort of included all the factors into this comparison, not just performance, but everything else as well. Overall, sort of total is putting everything together, but I'll break it down for you as well to sort of tell you what's more dominant over what in each factor. So, starting off with the handling, first of all, sliding in between in and out of these sort of poles. The thrust in itself is sort of rigid around this because of how long it is, and it's very awkward, especially, you know, when you're going around in circles like this. You see how big the circle gets. You know, the target in the circle is not that great, and it's really sort of awkward to handle at high speeds as well. Trying to take sharp corners at high speeds is not really that efficient, whereas with the Hakuchou, on the other hand, it's slightly more decent. You know, still one of those things where with this motorbike, you know, it's got decent handling, just about better than the thrust. But when we talk about other motorbikes, you know, it kind of gets a bit difficult to choose amongst. But, you know, the motorbikes are quite difficult to tell apart which one's got better handling. It's really to do with your preference. But when it comes to response times and whatnot, taking corners and this and that, certainly Hakuchou over the thrust for handling. Now, acceleration, you see the Hakuchou pretty much shoots off. For this particular test, we never put the analog stick up, the left analog stick up, so you know, both guys were pretty much stable on both motorbikes. What you notice is kind of interesting. This is actually a very long clip. You're probably wondering why this is 4 minutes long. And this is interesting because it did this multiple times and it turned out to be the same result. Now you see the thrust here, you know, clearly poor acceleration compared to the Hakuchou. Now, we expected this to be the case for the entire length and the Hakuchou to just pretty much keep going. But it turned out, from what it seemed at this point, the thrust was keeping up. So we thought at this point they both had equal top speed. But no, brothers, that was not the case. Next thing you know, every sort of 100 yards, you know, the thrust would just slowly creep up towards the Hakuchou. To the point where just when we reached the end of this highway, on this massive long curvy straight, you know, the thrust managed to keep up and catch up towards the rear of the Hakuchou. Then we thought, okay, now it's kind of reached the top speed. Surely it's not going to overtake. What do you know? Next thing you know, the thrust overtakes. So what this told us is that the thrust eventually has better top speed than the Hakuchou. Now, I think Rockstar, sort of just forgot to put on the top speed limit for the thrust. That's all I'm saying, because this keeps going on this straight, you know, whereas the Hakuchou sort of reaches its top speed and that's it. You know, obviously we know in real life it's one of the quickest bikes in the world, and I think Rockstar sort of put a limit to the top speed for that, otherwise it'll make it super OP. So in this case, you see here, if in a racing environment this wouldn't matter, because the Hakuchou would just go off. If there's a lot of corners and whatnot, the Hakuchou would actually win, because we know the handling is better, taking corners will be much quicker rate than the thrust. Whereas in a long straight line sort of drag race, I suppose you say, the motorbikes, depending on the drag race length, you know, if you ever get a drag race this long, right, you're gonna see how slowly it overtakes, to the point where you're like, okay, what was the point of that? But it's nice to know that the thrust actually has, I suppose, at this very moment, better top speed than the Hakuchou. That's interesting. All right, I wasn't expecting this. One of the surprising things as well. And I don't know, man, the thrust definitely is a surprising thing, because even when wheeling is on par with the Battiator one as well. So that's another thing you'll take into consideration. So you see taking the same lines, brothers, you know, and it's pretty much, wow, it just keeps going. I don't know what the top speed limit is for the thrust, man. But at the moment it's 2-1 to Hakuchou. Like I said, I'm putting all the factors together, so some of which you probably think, what's the point of having like the damage test and the customization? But it's nice to have everything in there. See, it's more durable. The thrust is more durable in initial impact, so I'm making that 2-2 customization as well. Hakuchou has no customization whatsoever, whereas the thrust does, which does make it 3-2. However, although the thrust has got more variety and whatnot, it's got better top speed, Hakuchou is more beneficial performance-wise overall speaking. So certainly you go for that in a racing environment with a lot of corners and whatnot. But that's up to you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys prefer out of both of these two. As I said, the overall score is pretty much for everything put together in one, not just for performance and not just for separating the other factors as well. So certainly go check out the previous episode of Favoro GT against Carbon. Expect to see more episodes in comparison with this brand new vehicles in this 1.17 DLC for GTA 5. I'll see you guys soon. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to slap the like button. I'll see you guys and check it. So now, good night, peace. Yeah!